Hello, everyone, and I hope you are all keeping safe and well. We have had a lot of chaos going on around us, but I do hope you are all abiding by the guidelines and going by all the safety measures. Tonight's show is about a hidden pain uncovered. And it's something that I honestly thought, hold on a moment, what could it mean? It sounded too scientific for me. I was actually made aware by a couple of amazing ladies who are on my show today, and we will get a brief and insight into it, and they are going to share their views and thoughts and their experiences with us about this sensitive topic. Now, the trauma effects and triggers, and are there any cures? Endometriosis. I actually do hope I have pronounced that correctly. How can it affect people? And what is a way of helping to release some of the trauma triggers in survivors? I will take you over to my guests now, who will be sharing their thoughts and views. I will start with Suzanne Smart, who is an NLP practitioner amongst many, many other amazing titles that she holds, which I will later ask her to elaborate. But Suzanne, welcome to my show.
Hi, Sadia, it's lovely to be here.
Great to have you. And I also have another amazing lady. Her name is Chanel Marshall, who is a mindset coach, and amongst many, many other roles that she plays. And she will be sharing her beautiful journey about this endometriosis. So, Chanel, welcome again to my show.
Thank you for having me, Sabia.
Brilliant. So, basically, ladies, I think I will go over to Suzanne. If you can tell us, and just very briefly, what is endometriosis? Can we understand a little bit about it? But before you do that, I would like the viewers to know a little bit more about you. If you can just elaborate a little more what it is that you do amongst coach, writing a book, so yes, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Can I say though that it's Chanel is the endometriosis coach, so if you want to hear about that, then it's Chanel that will tell you about that. I'm here to talk about trauma.
Okay, yes, brilliant. So Suzanne, just a little bit about yourself before we go.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm an aspiring author. I have a book coming out later in the year. I'm a trauma transformation coach, first of all. So I help survivors of toxic relationships, so abuse, physical abuse, narcissistic abuse, that's abuse of the mind. So that's where the hidden side comes in, because there are no actual bruises. It's all done internally. And an NLP practitioner. I also am a Reiki master teacher, mental health first aider, and a mentor. So yeah, a nice long list. I also facilitate workshops on racial microaggression and unconscious bias. So that's where the NLP side comes into things as well. So that's me kind of in a nutshell. Whistle stop tour.
Okay. All right, brilliant. I will come back to you. Okay, so it seems like Chanel, you apart from being the mindset coach, if you can talk us through and walk us through just briefly, what is endometriosis? How can we understand what this big word is? I mean, I'm already, my mind's boggled, and for the benefit of our viewers, is this something we should hear about it? Why haven't we heard a lot more about it? So over to you, Chanel, if you can tell us, what is this endometriosis?
Okay, thank you. Endometriosis is when the lining of the womb grows outside, and it can attach itself to the bladder, the bowel, even sometimes the lung. And it can cause immense pain. And a lot of women go undiagnosed for a very long time because not believed. And they're basically told that painful periods is normal. So if you go in, you're like, I've got really severe cramping, and that's like, well, like you're supposed to have pains during your menstrual cycle, and you're dismissed. And I didn't know that I had endometriosis for years. I realized that when I look back now that I was suffering from endometriosis when I was 14, 15. And I wasn't diagnosed until entering into my early 30s. So there was a long period of time of not knowing what was going on with my body and also being misdiagnosed. So it goes under the radar, and it does say that there's 1 in 10 women that suffer from endometriosis. I believe that it's more than that because there's so many that do go undiagnosed and do get, like, think that you're overreacting, and because it cannot be seen from the outside, a lot of people just think that you're either being a hypochondriac, and yeah, it's because it's an ailment that cannot be seen from the outside. So I say, like, if someone had a broken leg, you would get up off your bus seat and you'd be like, oh, do you want to have a seat? But when you're suffering with something like endometriosis or even depression, anxiety, no one can see it unless you actually verbalize it. So I think it needs more awareness so people know what's actually happening. A lot of people do not have a clue, and it is a mouthful to basically say.
Yes, thank you for that. In my search of trying to figure out what it was, it told me it's a condition which cells that are normally found in the uterus are found growing outside. And this can happen to anyone, any age, you know, is that correct?
It starts from when you basically start your menstrual cycle. So once you start, then that's when it can stem from. Like I said, I was 14, 15 when mine started, and I had no idea. And I was led to believe I just had an irritation in the gut. I had cameras down my throat, many trips back and forth to the hospital, and just got told, oh, it's the irritation of the gut. Don't worry about it. It'll go away on its own. And like I said, it took so long to be diagnosed. And I can't fault the medical professionals because a lot of them just don't know. So if you're going to your local GP and they have no idea about it, they're going to either think that it's something completely different. Like I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. So I was dealing with that for at least 4 years. And I was wondering why nothing was working for me. Everyone else who had irritable bowel syndrome, they're using stuff that's on the market and it's working. I was like, why is this not working for me? And if it wasn't for a doctor saying, something's not right, let me send you for all other tests, and everything came back negative. And if she didn't continue to push for me, I maybe still wouldn't know what's actually wrong with me.
Well,
so
can I go
key.
can I go over to Susan? I mean, can many women or girls, you know, what could they be going through to even think about going to the doctors or GP or even speaking to someone about it? You know, what could, I mean, would they think to themselves, hold on, it's probably just the normal pain and cramps that I get, you know, or could there be something more that they're going through inside to even approach anybody? Susan, if you can tell us something about that.
Okay, so I think the first thing to recognise and to understand is that, you know, that with all hidden pain, it's really important to verbalise exactly what's going on. If you need to have a diary, and every time you feel something, have a full description, put it in that diary, and then you can start to notice different trends that happen when you are feeling this way, and that might help your doctor. Also, if you go to the doctor and the doctor tries to brush you aside, insist that, you know, that you are suffering from anxiety, from depression, but it stems from physical pain, and how long this physical pain has been there will be an indicator also to, you know, whether or not to steer in the direction of endometriosis. it's the same with any trauma. If you have an idea when it started, how long it's been going on for, when it attacks, is it certain parts of the day? Is it certain foods you eat? Is it at certain times of the month? And you can, kind of narrow that down then, but just by process of elimination, and get to the bottom of something to then take that elsewhere to be, seen and believed. It's about being believed, and somebody else having that belief in you to say, right, okay, I'm going to push. Just like Chanel said, I'm going to push for this. That's what it takes.
But do women find that it can be mistaken for your everyday, period pains, or the fact that, it's something that maybe a paracetamol or ibuprofen may just take it away? At what point do you think, women should realize, hold on, this needs a bit more medical attention than, is it something easily just not thought of? How, significant is it? Chanel or Susan, either of you, one of you can say something.
Do you want to go, Chanel?
I would say with that, it's, if you're taking paracetamol and you're taking ibuprofen, and the pain is not shifting, then there's something wrong. Because I was at the point of where I would say I was popping paracetamol and Tic Tac, paracetamol, ibuprofen, like it was Tic Tacs, like it was getting ridiculous, and the pain would not go. And when I mean like it's crippling, where you could sometimes, there's different stages of endometriosis, but no matter what stage you're at, the pain, it differs in everybody. But there's points where you can literally be on all fours and you are literally writhing in pain. You can't sleep. And then on top of that, you also do have anxiety attacks. You do have also depression, dizziness, brain fog, all of these things that you wouldn't get with a normal menstrual cycle. You wouldn't get that. So when it gets to the point of just a normal, it's no longer just an achy back or, just slight discomfort, which is natural and normal. But when it goes past that, when normal stuff over the counter is not working, then you definitely need to go and seek medical advice.
What about, what do we think could be some of the causes of this endometriosis condition? Did Chanel be the best to?
They don't actually have real, there's no concrete cause. And that's the fighting battle that we're going through right now, is because we know what can kind of like exacerbate it and make it worse. Like it could be processed foods, sugar, coffee, alcohol, all those things can make it worse, but there's not actually any cause to say it's this and you need to stop this and everyone will be fine. There's no actual, there's no cause for it. It happens. And it can be passed down as well, because what I didn't realize was my mum was diagnosed with endometriosis and it wasn't given a name when she was going through it. So I didn't know that's what she had been through until I was going through it. And then we started talking about it. And then it was like, once I had a label for it, then she was like, oh, that's what I had. And I was like, all this time that was going through, I was going through all this pain. We had no idea we was going through exactly the same thing.
So everyone's more or less guessing their way, like, oh, hold on, is this normal? Is this a condition? Which then takes me to Susan here. How traumatic can it be for not only the person, but the people around them, whether it's family members or whether this, you're going to work or wherever you may be, the people that you're around, how traumatic or how can it affect the people around you if you were to have this condition?
Okay, I think trauma on any level is absolutely horrendous, and for the person going through that trauma, it's just like Chanel says, it can present as anxiety, as depression, that the pain, the brain fog, the sleepless nights, and all of those things just kind of build upon each other, and you're caught in this awful cycle. For somebody experiencing that kind of trauma through pain, through, you know, be it physical pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, it can be, you know, absolutely devastating for them, but also for the people around them, because as humans, the people that we love, we, you know, naturally feel that we should be there to be able to, you know, comfort them. You know, if that was my own child, I would feel helpless, and that helplessness can cause you to feel symptoms of anxiety and depression and all, you know, these other kinds of mental issues as well, because, you know, as a parent or as a family member or a close friend even, you feel that your existence is to help others, and if you can't help and you feel absolutely helpless, you know, where do you go from there? So yeah, it can kind of send everybody into this cycle of cataclysm that just results from not being able to do anything about it. And very often, you know, also we always want to know what things are, don't we? If we don't know, once we know, we say, that's what it is, and we can find answers. But when we don't know, things go undiagnosed, and we don't know, we're just fishing in the dark. That can also send us, you know, on that downward spiral. So yeah, it's really tricky.
Mm-hmm. So Chanel, how long did you actually have this condition? And I believe there were some decisions you've had to make over the years for, if I can call it, to cure you off of this condition so that you don't have that pain anymore. If you could share with us.
So like I said, from, say, let's go with 15, and I'm now 36, and I had my full hysterectomy. So I'll go back. I had to basically advocate for my body, because a lot of people, to get rid of endometriosis, which is not really getting rid of, it's making the pain less, is a hysterectomy. And because I haven't had children, which endometriosis makes infertility very difficult, I was basically told, have a child and it'll make the pain less. Which that's a lie, because I met plenty of women who, in the hospital when I was having many surgeries, they've had children and it stops it for a bit, but then it kind of kicks up a notch. And then I basically said, I'll have a hysterectomy. That's the best way forward for me. And because I hadn't had children, my gynecologist was like, no, at least have a child, and then we can revisit this. And I was like, but all the stuff you need to do to have a child, I can't do. So waiting and hoping that happens, it's not feasible. So I had to have many of second opinions and sit downs, and it made me realize that I wasn't actually in charge of my body. Other people had a say so on what happens and what I do. So that for me was, I never thought I'd have to fight for my body and my rights of what I wanted to do. So in that sense, me actually getting the hysterectomy, I did kind of feel like a triumph, like, you stood up for yourself, like, you did this. So that was a big triumph for me. But
I mean,
I had the full hysterectomy.
Yeah, sorry, Chanel. So did you go through different stages of finding out, you know, were there other ways that you could have done this before deciding to go for this hysterectomy, you know, to relieve you of it? You know, have you've tried and tested all the other methods that could have worked? Yeah.
So what they did was, first they started me off with different types of contraceptives. That wasn't working. And then I tried a menopausal injection. So it basically brings on menopause early. And that was also meant to stem the pain. That didn't work. And then they decide, okay, fine, we'll try just taking away your fallopian tubes, and that should stop the pain for a while. That made it 10 times worse. I thought it was like my body just saying, no. You need to get rid of everything, because no. So I tried everything step by step, and then that was my last resort for me to basically have what you would call somewhat of normality.
Right.
And my hysterectomy, it wasn't simple. They had to cut me from the top of my belly button down. They couldn't do a cesarean cut because my endometriosis, the scarring was so bad inside. But I still have scarring now, which means I don't fully have, I'm not rid of endometriosis, but the pain is, I'd say I'm at least at 80%, where I'm saying that I am fighting fit and I'm great, but I still do have symptoms of endometriosis. So I'm still an endo sister. That's what we call ourselves.
Okay.
But my life is 100% more better than it was. I'm happy to wake up every morning, because I'm going to be honest, it can get very dark for ladies who suffer endometriosis. Yeah. And you literally, it's every day you wake up, you're like, yes, you've actually triumphed.
Yeah. So Susan, do you think what Chanel actually went through, is this quite normal, that it could lead to situations like that, where you would have to have this hysterectomy to actually not go through the pains, and how traumatic can one be before they can make that decision?
I think that's down to your GP and the connections that are available for you, because there are doctors out there that will deal with it, but I don't think there are enough right now, which is why we need more awareness about this. And yes, if you do find yourself in a position where you have to have, the full back boiler, if you like, your womb and your fallopian tubes and everything out, just to save you those years of suffering, I think that, if you're prepared to do that, then that is, a way to go, simply because it will stem the flow of those cells that then come from the womb, and then you're just left with the cells that are already there, So it like I said at the beginning, it just depends, I think, on where you are in the world, in the country, if you have those connections, and if your GP recognizes that, which is why another reason why it's so good to have a diary of all your pain points and where that you feel those stem from.
And also, while you're on there, what kind of coping mechanisms could you suggest, for people who are going through something like this, and how can they try and overcome some fears in regards to all of this?
Okay, so with coping mechanisms, I find that CBT is really good for tools. Once you have come to terms with what's going on with you and you're looking to then move on and help yourself through, I find CBT tools are very good for nailing your perceptions. Also, meditation can work, some self-care, your nutrition. Take a full look of that. Make sure that you're getting all of the berries that you need, all of the to get your full intake of omegas, to get your full intake of your fruit, your natural fruit, and if you can, choose orchard fruit over supermarket fruit, stuff that are freshly picked. If you need to, if you are eating lots of meat, cut down on meat and eat grass-fed meat, and free range. Eggs, free meat from free range animals and grass-fed animals as much as possible. Go as natural as you can, and always make sure that you have your 5 fruit and your 5 veg a day, and then find some decent supplements to back those up with. Not your regular supermarket shelf, but source some really decent proven supplements for that. And because obviously the better shape your body is in, is the better you're able to cope, and you have the mind, heart, gut connection there. So if you can have all of that intact and you can be in line and fully functional and fully mindful of what you're doing, that will take you an awful long way towards being able to wake up and embrace the day. Yeah.
This is it's such a sensitive topic, I mean, I'm learning as I'm listening to you, ladies. I don't know, I mean, can you mention something about some of the things that women can look out for as some of the hot spot signs of?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you are prone to really painful periods, and that pain continues either before or past your period, take note of that. Take note of the medication that you're taking. If you're going past, because the maximum dose for paracetamol and for ibuprofen is 4 times a day. So if you're taking more than 8 paracetamol or Nurofen a day, or if what some people do, they double up, so you can take Nurofen at the same time as you can take paracetamol. If you are doubling up and your pain is not getting any better, then that's a huge red flag. Also, go to your doctor, take your diary with you, your pain diary with you, and really, really push to be seen by somebody, by a gynecologist that has studied widely in the field. And we've got, a wonderful NHS service. We've got the ability now to, practically choose which hospital we want to go to. So, if you feel that, listen to your body, and if you feel that you need something further, then, go, you can, internet is a wonderful tool nowadays to look at different hospitals, different doctors, even privately, and see what they do, and have a diagnosis and then maybe a second opinion, because it's so important to catch that as early as possible, just to save you that trauma of all that pain, all that uncertainty and that indecision.
Thank you for that. Chanel, is there anything else that you can add on to your journey of going through this condition of endometriosis? I believe it has been many, many years until you found your way of dealing with it, and then finally you've had to make that decision. And because we're coming almost to the end of our show as well, how would you let our viewers know what kind of things, the hotspot scenes, situations to look out for as well?
Suggestions, I would say, if you are having painful periods that you personally feel, it's about what you feel, that you feel are out of the norm, then seek help. Even if someone thinks you're overreacting, you know your body more than anybody else does. So I'd always say seek help. Even if you jumped on Google and had a look to find out if that's something that you do have, I think they should have endometriosis awareness in schools, so females know that this could be something that could crop up in their life. And also just think awareness is key. That is 100% awareness. So a lot of people have heard, oh, so-and-so had this, or I've heard that before, but no one actually knows what it's actually about. So I would say from this, jump on Google, type in endometriosis and have a look, just so you're informed, because you never know whether it could be your mum, your aunt, your sister, your cousin. As long as you know, and if they say something to you and you be like, oh, maybe you have this, or it could be something that off of that. So as long as you know yourself, so you are informed, then you can inform others. So I'd say awareness is key.
Yeah, thank you for that. Anything else you'd like to add on to that, Susan?
No, I think, Chanel has rounded that off really, really well. It's, it's about you knowing your body, you knowing what you're going through. And very often we do know, don't we, when something isn't right. And but we are the last ones that we listen to. We'll listen to everybody else out there. And there is this thing with hidden pain, that, you're feeling it, you're going through it, but at the same time other people are saying, you know, oh, just get over it, it can't be that bad, you know, you look fine. And but because you've had the wherewithal and the grit to take yourself out of bed that day and put your face on, put that mask on and go to work, nobody knows. And again, it is hidden. So yeah, push. You know yourself better than anybody. So, you know, don't doubt yourself. If you feel that this is, you know, gone past that line now where you think, no, you know, it's not just me now, investigate.
Well, thank you, ladies, for coming and making us aware and giving us some very, very important, you know, views and thoughts, and especially your experiences. And let's hope after today, you know, it doesn't remain a mystery, and you know, people do look into it a little bit more. So that they can save themselves that extra pain that they are having within themselves. So thank you again for coming and sharing all of that with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so viewers, it's this endometriosis. It's a long-term condition, and it can affect anyone of any age. And it's a condition that we've just found out that, you know, it's not just a normal period pain or cramps. And, you know, it's something that you need to keep an eye on. If it's been one of those situations where painkillers are not helping over a period of weeks and especially months, each time you go through this condition, do seek medical advice and help. And also, if you've been affected by this condition, I do have a number, helpline number, which I will share it with you. It's 0808 808 2227. That's 0808 808 2227. It's a number, helpline number, where you can, you know, find out in confidence a little bit more and get some advice and help if you feel that it's not something that you can speak with any family members, friends, or even go to the GP. But we have found out that, you know, there are no known causes yet found, but it's a condition which remains a mystery, and we want to make sure that, you know, you seek that advice, you look into your behaviors of, you know, how these pain that it is that you're going through, and recognize it and follow your instincts, as our experts have mentioned. So on that note, I do hope that you all will keep safe and well, and if you've got other great, amazing topics such as this that you'd like to bring on, do contact us and follow VodTalk. Thank you.